What's up guys, my name is Johnny Youssef. I'm a real estate investor and I'm here to share with you guys an answer on the most common question I get asked all the time. The most common question I get asked is, how did you start getting into real estate investments and what can I do to also start doing the same thing? So I'm gonna share with you guys my thoughts on that. I'm here at a house that I'm rehabbing here in Kansas City. It's a 110-year-old house. I'm sitting on the largest fire pit you're gonna find in a backyard, and it's definitely illegal to have a fire pit this big, and it was probably built by a squatter that lived in the house because the house was abandoned for many years. So the three most important things that you need to know about real estate investing is this. The first step you need to take is have knowledge. Knowledge is huge. You have to understand your market. Every market is different. For example, if you live in LA or New York City or one of those bigger cities, flipping may be great investments, but buying and renting out may not bring you the best return. So you have to figure out what works with your city. Some cities, it's much better to buy a house, flip it and fix it, and then sell it immediately. Other cities, it's much better to buy the house and then fix it and then hold on to it and rent it out. So you have to figure out what works in your market. You have to get knowledge about your neighborhoods and about which areas are good to invest in and which areas are not. And you have to have knowledge with understanding what cap rate is. You have to understand how to calculate your net income. So you have to get knowledge about real estate investing and also about your area and what works in your area. The second most important thing is having finances. Now, one of the biggest myths I hear all the time is that you need to have a lot of money to get into real estate investing, and that is not true. When I started, I didn't have much, but I learned how to get the money. So you have to figure out where you're getting the money. There are a lot of ways of doing so. You can get home equity line of credit from your house if you own one. You can borrow money from an investor and you can have a deal with them where they have interest or they can have part ownership. You can get a loan. So there are a lot of different ways where you can structure it. You have to figure out where you're getting the finances and what you're gonna do about it. And the third most important thing is surrounding yourself by the right people. You have to find the right realtor, you have to find the right contractor, you have to find the right designers. Now you may say, well, aren't all realtors the same? But that's actually not true. I've seen realtors that do not know anything about real estate investments. Just because they're realtors and I'm a realtor doesn't mean that they know all the different aspects. Some realtors can be great at finding you nice mansions or the coolest, hippest condo in town, but they may be terrible at finding you a good investment. So you have to really find the right realtor. Otherwise, you may end up with a realtor that he or she can take you and tell you, oh, this investment is great, you should buy it, the kitchen looks beautiful, but in reality that investment they're describing is terrible. So you have to get the right realtor that understands investing. You have to get the right contractors, and I learned that the hard way. You have to get contractors that know what are the rules, and you have to get contractors that know how to do something right, so that if you're keeping the property 6 months later, you're not having to fix stuff that was just installed 6 months ago. Or even if you sell it, you don't want to run into problems with the buyers coming back to you and saying, dude, the guy that you hired did everything wrong and we want some money from that. So you have to get the right contractors. Also, you have to know how to structure the deals with the contractors so that they're not tripping you off, so that they're not taking money and leaving without finishing the job. And you have to have the right designers. Now, I've seen a lot of people that assume that they can do interior design and they assume that they can, do all the decorations. And I've actually had a client before that flipped a house. They spend a lot of money on flipping a house, but they did not know how to do design and they assumed they can do it. So they painted the house terrible colors. It was like orange and pink and just awful colors. They used bathroom tile in the kitchen and it looked awful. And doing those things, even though they spent just as much money as another person, they had a really hard time selling the house because they did not do the right design, right color scheme. So you have to know what you're doing. Now, you may say, Johnny, we have common sense. We would never do that. But maybe you have common sense, but I would still consider or look into learning how to do design right or getting the right person, because sometimes it is definitely worth it paying someone $1,000, $2,000 to help you with design or color schemes, because you get your money back and even more when you sell it if you do the design right. If you have the beautiful kitchen, the most beautiful bathroom in the neighborhood, that can get you a lot more money. So you have to have, just to go over it real quick, you have to have the knowledge about the neighborhood, about the area, about real estate investments. You have to have the finances and figure out where you're gonna have the finances. And a lot of people skip this step and they go into the next step. And when they find a good property, by the time they find a good property, they try to put an offer, but then it's too late because they didn't have finances in place. So it's crucial to have the money ready before you even look into properties. And the third one is having the right contractors, having the right people around you. So those are the 3 steps I would advise if you want to get into real estate. And what I'm gonna do is, if I get good feedback from that, I would love to hear your thoughts. Please let me know what you guys think, give me comments, give me feedback, subscribe. And if I get a good response, what I plan to do is the next video, I'm gonna be sharing with you guys on some resources that will help you get the knowledge you need, that will help you understand more about designing, about structuring contracts. So I'm gonna do that next. So subscribe, let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk again.